You're on In Your Face on 3CR with James. Well, Sultan and Nassar are two gay Saudi asylum seekers who are in detention here in Australia. And earlier today, in a dramatic interview, I spoke with Sultan from inside immigration detention.
For 16 years, my partner and I, we've been working mostly with the foreign media to help give Saudi Arabia a fair chance in the media by making sure it's accurately and fairly reported on. Not necessarily positively, but just fair and accurate reporting. So what ended up happening is that in March of 2018, a Canadian television channel came to Saudi Arabia, and we were working with them. We had set up an itinerary for her and interviews that she had requested, but we didn't realize that she had meant to do stories about human rights, which is fine. You can do stories about human rights. I mean, Saudi Arabia certainly has a lot to answer for in that regard. I was working within the Ministry of Media, so I arranged some interviews for her, but she kind of went off the itinerary, and against my advice, went and started interviewing people that were considered to be dissidents against the kingdom. And I had told the reporter that if you do that, those people may have to answer to the authorities upon your leaving the country. Well, she didn't listen. She went and did those interviews without me knowing. A very nasty report came out about the kingdom shortly after that, and I was hauled in for questioning by the Presidency of State Security regarding those interviews. I had no idea that they had happened, but I was blamed for giving her a visa to come into the country. I was blamed for those interviews happening, and I was blamed for the repercussions out of those interviews. So during those interrogation sessions I had with the Presidency of State Security, they told me that they asked some questions. Who do you live with? I said, I live with my partner. How old are you? I told them I'm 47. Are you married? No. Do you have kids? No. The person I'm living with, is he married? No. How old is he? He was 35 at the time. Does he have any children? No. How many bedrooms do you have in the house? How many beds do you have in the house? The man was basically hinting that he knew about our relationship, and he threatened me, telling me, if you don't stop working with the foreign media, then we're going to make sure that some secrets do not remain secret. So I kept working with the foreign media, although I did slow things down a lot, tremendously slowed things down. But in September, end of August of this year, my partner's family suddenly wanted him to stop seeing me, and they knew us as best friends for a long, long time. And their attitude towards me had changed, and they said that they received a phone call giving them information that our relationship is not one that would please God. Well, my partner said that, he's not going to stop seeing me. At which point, his brother called and told him, look, the cousins know about your guys' relationship. They're out to get us on. You have to stop seeing him. They're planning on killing him. As far as an honor killing is concerned. We didn't take that too seriously, but then we got a phone call on September 5th from the Criminal Investigation Division that investigates so-called gay crimes, and they wanted to see me. And they told me to come in. It was a Thursday, I remember. And it was a Thursday. They wanted me to come in on Sunday and talk to them. So, and then a couple of hours later, after that first phone call, my partner also got the phone call. So we knew that his family had made good on the threats to either get me killed or imprison me or get us permanently separated. They even went as far as getting him a woman prepared to marry him, some woman he's never met before in his life. I'm sorry, someone is knocking on our door. Just a minute.
Sure.
I'm sorry, it's one of the guys. Hi. Good, how are you? It's going to be a long one. Do you know what's happening, huh? Am I going back? Hello?
Sure. Yes. Yeah, sure. Just ask for James when you call, okay? No worries.
You're listening to 3CR Radio.
So, just trying to remember where we were.
Yes. What happened when you were interrupted?
The officers came in and told my partner that he's been given a breaching visa. So he's just been released. But for me, there was a little bit of confusion. My partner had a medical appointment on Monday. So the minister didn't want to grant me a visa until my medical appointment on Monday. But I don't have a medical appointment on Monday. It's my partner that actually has a medical appointment on Monday. So the minister's office said they were going to grant me a visa after that appointment, which is a non-existent appointment. So there just seems to be a little bit of confusion, but we both have been medically cleared by the Commonwealth medical doctors at least last week or a couple of weeks ago. So the fact that he just got released is a great thing, but now I'm a little bit confused, and so is he, and so is our attorney. So
Absolutely.
Hopefully my exit will come on Monday after his doctor's appointment. I told him to make sure he didn't miss that appointment.
This is an extraordinary development. Is he actually out in the community now?
He's right now in medical, getting just final information. And then he's going to go to the property department, receive the belongings that we arrived with, at which point he's going to be put out into the reception area, which is open to the community. He's going to call an Uber. An Uber is going to come and pick him up and take him over to our attorney. And she's going to put him up for a couple of days until I can get released as well. And then we can just start the lives that we hoped we would start a little over 60 days ago. That's how long we've been in detention.
How are you feeling? I mean, this is going very quickly all of a sudden, isn't it?
It is. I'm very, very happy that he's out. Of course, I wish I was out. But I know that he'll be safer out in the community than he will be in here. So I'm just concentrating right now on being happy about him being out. You know, we've been together for 16 years, and we had to escape our home in the middle of the night and travel halfway around the world and down under to get here. And to be separated now at this point is bittersweet. I'm happy he's out. But of course, I want to be out there with him. But soon enough, it'll come, I'm sure, next week.
You must have had a very emotional goodbye just a few moments ago.
Well, actually, I could have sat with him for another half an hour, but I didn't want to cry in front of the guards or anybody, so I just told him, you know what, I got to go now. And I don't want to cry on the radio either.
Absolutely. But, I mean, you can if you want to, because it must be incredibly emotional for you.
It is. It is. But they're happy tears, and they're concerned because, you know, there have been a lot of crazy turns and twists along the route. I mean, starting from back in September when we decided we had to flee the country, up until now, I mean, getting arrested at the airport in Australia was something that we did not figure into the plan whatsoever. And then finding out that we were sick and having to be hospitalized was another major surprise that kind of threw a twist in the works. And then the final surprise today is that we expected both of us to get out at the same time. But I'm staying and he's out because, like I said, they think I have an appointment on Monday, but it's not me, it's actually him. So we'll see. It's been crazy. I'm sure it'll be over for me next week as well. I'll get out. And then we can actually really begin to see Australia and, see the good that actually exists here. We've heard so many great things about people in Australia and about the country itself that, we've kind of very eager to see it. I mean, the amount of support and love that we've felt from the LGBT community here in Australia, just via what we've been reading about ourselves on Twitter and on Facebook, has really made us feel like, we had to leave our families in the middle of the night in Saudi Arabia, but we feel now that we've been adopted by the Australian LGBT community. And it's very, very endearing.
Absolutely. What can the LGBTIQ community here in Australia do for you over the next few days while you await your fate?
Well, for me, not much. My case rests entirely in the minister's hands. The fact that he's given my partner a visa is a very good sign, so I expect that mine will come. Keep up the comments on Twitter and on Facebook. They keep me quite busy. I did open up a Facebook page for my partner and I. It's Sultan Nassar in Oz. That'll keep me busy. But then, I do have Netflix, I guess. That'll keep me busy for the next few days. But what we will need when we're out is we'll need a place to stay. And probably jobs, because the good news is with these breaching visas that my partner has just been given, and the one that I've been told I will have as well next week, it allows us to work. So we'll also be looking for work.
So you've been given a guarantee that your bridging visa will be approved next week?
I've been told that it will be automatically approved after Monday's non-existent doctor's appointment.
And who told you that?
The case manager here that's handling our case with immigration and our attorney as well. Our attorney is Alison Battison with Human Rights for All. She actually agreed to become our lawyer pro bono from day one as soon as we arrived.
So it was an employee of the Australian government who told you that you would be released next week and given a bridging visa?
Yes.
Well, that's encouraging, and I think the Minister, David Coleman, should note that.
Yes, I think the information that our case manager is getting is from his office. I'm 100% sure of that, according to our lawyer and to the case manager.
So what support will you need? You'll need a place to live, you'll need work. And I guess, you will need to kind of tell your story to the Australian people further about what conditions have been like in that centre. Is there anything that you can tell us about the conditions?
Well, I mean, I don't want to speak negatively about refugees and asylum seekers, but 80% of the people that are in here, there's two types of people that are in here. There's those that were actually out in the Australian community living their lives, and then they've committed a crime or gotten into trouble. They've served time in prisons or in jail, and then they're supposed to be automatically deported from the country. But they're fighting their deportation, and while they fight their deportation, they're being held here at the detention center. And then there's the other 20% that are people like us, like my partner and I, that arrived in the country and are applying for asylum, people that have not committed any crimes. So, I mean, there is always a potential for violence. There is always a potential for trouble. Drug use and drug sales are rampant within the detention centers. We have seen it firsthand. We've seen a couple of inmates spiking the drink of another without his knowledge with a substance that appeared to be crystal meth or ice, just to make sure that he fails his drug test so that he's never granted a visa. Just today, there was a major fight over in the community area that had the emergency response team officers having to rush there and break it up. Just last month, another of our lawyer's clients was basically strung up and in an attempted lynching. So, I mean, the potential for violence here is great. I mean, since we've been here, we've been threatened with getting killed, with getting stabbed. So it hasn't been exactly a walk in the park. But like I said, I mean, this is just part of being in detention.
Absolutely. So it's been a very, very difficult time for you. How has it affected your mental health?
My mental health is quite strong. I considered myself to be quite a strong person. But I did spend 3 weeks in the hospital at one point, and my partner was here alone. Now, I know my partner. I've been with him for 16 years. He is the sweetest, most forgiving guy. Nothing gets to him. He's not hateful or critical or judgmental of people in any way possible, in any way at all. But after being here in detention by himself for 3 weeks, I came back to an almost different person. He was critical, he was judgmental, he was non-trusting of people. So I had to sit down with him. I told him, look, man, don't let this place change you. You cannot let this place change you. I mean, if you do that, then you will have let them win. And you can't do that. So we've kept away from people. We've kept our door closed. I mean, they were kind enough to put us both in the same room. So by not associating with people, it's allowed us to get back to ourselves, our normal selves, the cheerful, happy, go-lucky kind of people. So, there are days when you wake up and it really, really weighs on you. You realize that today's going to be a bad day. And then you just do what you can to get through the day, And we've really depended on one another to get through this, He knows how to make me laugh. I know how to make him laugh. So it's been good. I mean, but I can't imagine being in this place alone like he had to be for 3 weeks while I was ill. And the next couple of days are going to be tough because I'm going to be alone. But, I look forward to the day that's going to come, in 2 or 3 days when I will be out.
Absolutely. Sultan, there's a lot of people thinking of you. Take care in there over the next few days. And we hope to have you on the show when you're out and meet you in the studio in person. Thank you so much for talking to us today on 3CR, which has been an extraordinary day for you and the SAR.
Thank you